I've just been watching a video by a YouTuber called Zoroaster, spelled with an X, and he's talking about, well, he's echoing some of the feelings I have about YouTube, actually, about a kind of an appreciation that you gain from it, just the experience of having a public conversation and voicing your, in my case at least, half-baked ideas and allowing them to grow in a very rich kind of medium that we're involved in here. And he's saying the same thing, and it sounds like he's written a book, or he's in the process of writing a book, and he's looking for a publisher, book about Revelations, which sounds really interesting actually. But that got me thinking about this, because there's a number of people on here, just in a little circle of YouTube that I'm involved in, who are involved in writing. Obviously Professor Anton's written a number of academic books, aimed at, I guess, the university audience. Corey, is that right? Although wider readership, of course. Laura Layla, I know you've written a book. Jordan Owen, I don't know the book, but I noticed a video by Jordan Owen saying his book, Eros Empire, has been published. And now Zoroaster. And there's probably others, and I've had a go myself. I've tried to write 2 books over the last few years, kind of in concert with YouTube. I tried to write a book about the poetics of knowledge a couple of years ago. Made a lot of videos about that, and then just kind of got bored of it really. And then back in December, I started writing a fiction book. I never write fiction, but I started writing one. I don't even read fiction, to be honest. But I was kind of inspired by all the antinatalist discussions, so I've started writing a book about that. But that's kind of on the back burner right now because of the U-doubled stuff. Although I've got about 30,000 words under my belt, which is not bad. But anyway, the reason why I'm mentioning this is that what I really like about social media generally is the opportunity it provides for, as Zoroaster is putting a kind of, as I said, a kind of growth medium, a productive environment, an environment which allows people to start expressing themselves in a way that gives structure to that expression and allows it to come forth, whether that be in art or music or whatever kind of format that is. But as I say, in this case, writing and publishing. And that's something I'd really like to develop or find a way to move into. And specifically, actually, because I'm not just talking about a kind of moral support, I'm also interested in alternative publishing models, and there's plenty of them about right now. I mean, I'm using a system called Pressbooks at the moment, which is quite good. But there's lots and lots of different ones of ways of self-publishing and ways of gaining kind of upfront sponsorship for your books. All different kinds of ones really. But so I am interested in trying to find different publishing outlets, publishing tools, publishing methods for some kind of written content. The one that I quite like now, I don't think one exists. If you know one, tell me. But what I let me say what I don't like. What I don't like about existing models, including the standard old-fashioned model, is that it's entirely numbers-based. The goal of the author in all publishing right now is to sell as many books as possible, because books make royalties. The more books you sell, the more royalties you get, and everybody wants to be J.K. Rowling, yeah? Selling millions of copies and getting millions of pounds or dollars in return. So it's all about the numbers game. It's a popularity contest, and I'm not keen on that really. What I'd like to do is to say, okay, what I want to earn from this book, I want to get £1,000, let's say, out of this book. I spent whatever that is. I spent 250 hours. I want to get £4 an hour. I'm willing to work a minimum wage. I want to get £4 an hour for that labour. So I want to raise £1,000 from the sales of this book. And that's all. So the more people that buy it, the cheaper it gets. Can you understand that? I mean, that the system, it'd be some kind of web-based system where people pledge to purchase the book. And the more people that pledge, the less of an amount each one of those would have to pay. So if it's 1,000 people all pledging to buy the book I just mentioned, that would be a pound each, because that would raise £1,000. If it was 2,000, it'd only be 50 pence each. 10,000, it'd be 10 pence each. You know what I mean? So the numbers of people investing in the book doesn't increase the author's royalties. You just set a fair wage for that labour, but it does decrease the amount of that each person has to pay for that. You'd have to bundle production costs in with that, but that wouldn't raise it enormously, would it? Anyway, that's a bit of a side issue, really. Just thinking about publishing, writing, YouTube, social media. I've started a writers group on U-double, but I don't know what I'll do with it. So yeah.